Welcome everyone, welcome to my new weather channel about whole Europe. So I'm passionate about weather, and my whole life I have been studying meteorology on my own, and in the last 1 year I have been developing a weather channel for my own country, which is Bulgaria. But right now I'm going to be moving to a broader stage and I'm going to be making forecasts for whole Europe. But I'm going to be focusing only on the most interesting weather events for Europe. I'm not going to be covering when the weather is good and sunny, but we're going to be focusing when we have some kind of convection, thunderstorms or winter storms. And of course, any kind of bad weather, I'm going to be focusing on that. And with this short introduction that I made for my new weather channel, let's start directly with what kind of weather we can expect for Europe for the next few days. So after we will look at the short range forecast, we're going to be looking also at the long range trends. And of course, the long range trends is only for us to get a view of what is coming ahead, and we know that everything that is after 5-6 days ahead of time is not very certain, but at least we can look at some kind of trends that we have from the models and what is most likely to happen. And with this, let's move directly to the forecast for Europe. I have opened the website of LX Charts, and here we have weather maps, and I'm showing you currently the map with the temperature on 850 hectopascals, which is around 1.5 kilometers above the ground. The most interesting thing that we can expect for the next few days is the generation of a deep cyclone over the North Atlantic. Let's look this now at the weather maps. Now we're starting with the date that I'm recording this video, which is the 21st of January, but let's move a little bit ahead, and you see by the 23rd of January we have this deep cyclone that is forming here over the North Atlantic. This cyclone is forming just because there is a large temperature difference between this very cold air mass that is on the north and the hotter air mass that is from the south. Where those air masses meet, there we have baroclinic instability, we have the jet stream moving over this area, and all this helps the cyclone to get deeper and to intensify, and then the jet stream can start to push the cyclone to the east and help the cyclone move faster. Okay, let's move now to the next hours and see how this cyclone is moving to the east very fast. And by the 24th of January, you can see that this cyclone is getting very deep, and the pressure inside the center of the cyclone is expected to be around like 940 to 950 hectopascals, which is a very deep low. And you can see this area of very strong winds and wind gusts, which is to the south and southwest of the center of the cyclone. When we have an extratropical cyclone like that and the winds are on this south to southwest part of the cyclone, this means that the cyclone is going through a very fast intensification. This cyclone intensifies just because the jet stream that is very strong helps this cyclone intensify, and we have a dry air intrusion. So basically from the upper layers of the troposphere and sometimes from the lower layers of the stratosphere, a dry and cold air just pushes downwards and spins around the center of the cyclone, and then this helps the cyclone to get deeper. It increases the baroclinic instability, and now you can see that this cyclone is going to get very near to Ireland by the 24th of January, and these strong winds are going to be affecting the west coast of Ireland. And here you can see a closer look as this cyclone intensifies and goes near to Ireland. You can see that the wind gusts are going to be very strong here to the west of Ireland, and let's see now the sustained winds as well. So I'm going to change the map to the sustained winds, and you can see sustained winds with 161 kilometers per hour, which is like hurricane category 2. Of course, as the cyclone moves near to Ireland, the winds are going to be a little bit weaker, but still we expect the west coast of Ireland to get hit by winds that are around 120 to 130 kilometers per hour sustained winds, which is like category 1 cyclone. At least this is the expectation for now, and the different models of course are going to see the trajectory of this cyclone in a different way. Now after that the cyclone goes to the north-northeast, and it's going to affect also Britain. They're going to have some strong winds, especially in the northern parts of the UK. We're going to have like winds around 110 to 120 kilometers per hour, like wind gusts for sure, or even a little bit more, maybe 140 kilometers per hour wind gusts. So this is the most impactful weather event that we are going to have for Europe for the next few days. But now let's focus on the little bit more long range for now. After this cyclone goes in here, there's going to be a second cyclone, which you can see that is being developed by the 26th of January, again over the North Atlantic. Again, this cyclone is going to be powerful, but for now it's expected to be not that powerful as the previous one. Let's just check the winds with this one as well. We're going to the wind gusts, and again we have quite strong wind gusts with the second one, but as you can see, it's not going to be that impactful for Ireland and for the United Kingdom, the second cyclone. Now let's check the accumulation of precipitation. For the first cyclone, we don't expect that much rain to fall on the west coast of Ireland and over the UK, just because the cyclone is going to be very deep and it's going to be moving very fast. So the main threat for the first deep cyclone is going to be the strong winds, but the rain is not going to be that much. Also here you can see that over Spain and Portugal we're going to have accumulation of a lot of rain coming into the next days. As you can see here, basically for the next 7-8 days they're going to have accumulation that goes locally up to 300 millimeters or even more, as you can see here. And basically this moisture from the Atlantic is going to be adding accumulation in this area. Now, after we looked at what impactful events we are going to have for Europe for the next few days, let's look at the long-term pattern. And we are not going to focus that much on one specific run, but we are going to look more on the ensemble. So the ensemble is basically the model generating like 50 different scenarios and then averaging those scenarios, and by the average scenario we can see what is a little bit more like likely to happen in the next days and the next weeks. And this is like the upper atmosphere, around 5.5 kilometers above the ground. And when we go by the end of the month, you can see here that we have a strong signal that the Azores high is going to be developing in here. So what is the most likely scenario? You can see this high pressure system over the Azores, and this high pressure system is likely to move then northeast and position itself over the United Kingdom and over Scandinavia. Once this high pressure system is situated here over United Kingdom or Scandinavia, this is going to block the westerly winds from the Atlantic, and it's going to allow for a different pattern of winds. So around the high pressure system, which is in the North Pole, we have the winds moving in a clockwise way. So you can see how those winds are going to be moving around the high pressure system, and they can bring some colder air from the Arctic and from the northeast parts of Europe to Central and then to South Europe, and probably to even to West Europe as well. So for now, those are the updates that I have for you, and stay tuned for my next forecasts.